Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the news that happened today around the Las Vegas Raiders signing wide receiver Jalen Guyton. On top of that, we're going to be talking a little bit about some linebacker targets. I saw an article released by Sports Illustrated illustrating the fact that they believed that the silver and black AP and Telesco should go out and try to add somebody to the linebacker room. So what I did was I looked at, okay, the top 10 linebackers most likely to be signed if the Raiders do decide to sign a linebacker this offseason. Then with rookie minicamp right around the corner, for those that do not know, the Raiders, they got May 10th, May 11th. They could have done 3 days of rookie minicamp. AP and Telesco decided to only rock with 2. And I've seen a lot of news out there about training camp. We'll kind of talk about the Raiders training camp destination because from what it sounds like, it's not going to be in Henderson, Nevada. It's going to be in another location. So we'll kind of discuss all of that. That's all coming up live here on the Raiders Report. I will also say this. I got to be out of here today by 5 o'clock. Today is Alex and I's 1 year, I guess, fiance engagement. What is that, anniversary? Is that how you would describe it?
Fianniversary.
Fianniversary? Fair enough. So literally last year on today, I asked Alex to marry me. So now she's been my fiance for a whole year. We got a fun little date night tonight, so I hope you guys understand. I can't really be late for that one. If you missed the news and if you're not subscribed,
do it.
Yeah,
All night long.
Only if Chuck lets us, because a lot of times Chuck's the one where he's like, all right, y'all, this has been going on for far too long. 5 minutes. Jalen Guyton signed with the Raiders today. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact contract details, though what I said on the video earlier today was, if I had to guess, you're probably going to be looking at that 1 year, somewhere around $2 million type of deal. A player that has played with Tom Telesco since 2017, has been a vertical field stretcher, had some injuries. He had a groin injury last season. Also, he had an injury with his ACL back in 2022, which is sort of zapped him of some of that electric speed that you saw a little bit earlier on. North Texas guy, so, we had to talk about him here just a little bit. I see Ed Robbins. What up, Sancho? Gatling Gun. I am Punchy. We got 400 people here watching the show, and after the Raiders signed Guyton, we went ahead and we kind of updated this wide receiver depth chart here for Las Vegas, and what I'm really curious about is I know that Michael Gallup is the bigger name, right? But Gallup at this point of his career also has been struggling with a lot of injuries. Guyton, yes, has struggled with injuries on top of that, but he does have that connection with Telesco over the past several seasons. So my question to you is this. Better receiver for the Raiders this season. Who is it going to be? If you think it's going to be Michael Gallup, I want you to type M for Michael. If you think it's going to be Jalen Guyton, I want you to type J for Jalen. Let me know down below what you guys are thinking. I'll kind of answer this one probably a little bit later on today's show. Now, again, if you watched our video that we put out, probably like 3-4 hours ago at this point when the news broke, I kind of gave my 2 cents on this one already, and most of the votes coming in right now are for Gallup. Like I see Def Halo, what up, man? Brian from New York City. Gatling Gun's going to go with Gallup, though Ed Robbins says Jalen. Ruthless says Jalen. DJ Johnson, he's going to go with Michael Gallup. The reason why we started the Raiders Report was because I want people to get their votes in. And I know a lot of people that watch this show all the time know that we go live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. But then this is also the part of the offseason where we do get some newer people from the draft that are just learning what the Raiders Report is. So all I ask is, especially May, June, and July, which is, the down months of the football season, for our loyal watchers, the people that say, you know what, I am part of that Noda gang. You know what, I am part of the real one. I need y'all to vote. I need y'all to just show the people here that are new how the Raiders Report works. Big Papa, what up? Martin, King Shav. I'm pretty sure King Shav got the countdown 100% perfectly accurate there. Funny story, Chuggs. Yesterday, I'm watching Graph and Wasted show, okay? And, I was tuned in to those guys. For those of you that don't know, I moved this weekend. And I was listening to a bunch of stuff, you got to listen to something when you're doing packing or unpacking all this. And I was listening to Wasted and Graph, and Evil Chuggs pops up on their show with a super chat, And Alex goes, "Oh, wow, Jeremy just super chatted on their show." And I was like, "That's not Jeremy, it's Evil Chuggs." She was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Wait until you find out there's an Evil Mitch."
Oh, wow.
And like,
What did he say?
to be honest, Evil Chuggs, I know you're watching right now, that's why I thought of it. I don't remember what you asked, but telling Alex that there was an Evil Chuggs and an Evil Mitch, mind blown. So Evil Chuggs, if you're out there, an awesome prank gift idea. If you could make an evil Alex, I'm telling you right now, it'd blow her mind. She was like, "There's no way this is possible. How does this happen?"
Prove it.
Prove it. We actually just find out it is just Chuggs. Chuggs is actually just back there. He's just typing along.
Oh, yeah.
That would be the ultimate spin zone. Also yesterday, which was kind of a crazy day, not only in the NFL, but I was looking forward to this for a long time. I love roasts. Like, to me, roast comedy is my type of sense of humor, and I get it. There's been some people that have come out today and that are like, the roast of Tom Brady, shame on them for making the jokes that they did. If you don't like roast, then you don't have to watch it, right? Like, that's
Evil Chuggs is in there.
Evil Chuggs is 100% in there. Did you watch the roast of Tom Brady? Give me a yes, give me a no. I'm going to try to not make too many references today because I don't want to spoil it for anybody out there, but I'm not going to lie. I thought it was hilarious. There were so many jokes that were just off the rails, but from top to bottom, from the moment it started, I was hysterically laughing. Like, I thought it was hilarious. It was one of the best roasts for me personally just because I understood a lot of the football like jokes that were thrown in there where there was definitely times Alex was like, "I don't get it." And I had to explain it a little bit. But did you watch it or no?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I basically followed along on TikTok and Twitter of the best clips of the night.
Fair.
The best people that I saw, Kill Tony, Nikki Glazer, Jeff Ross always does a good job.
That's all he does a good job at.
And I kind of agree with you. I did see some clips from Kevin Hart.
Yep.
Didn't think he was the...
Anytime Kevin Hart was talking, it was my least favorite part of the roast. Again, I don't think Kevin's very funny. He just, he just seemed like he wasn't prepared. Like, everybody else had all these jokes lined up, stacked up. Like, the professional comedians, you could tell that they did this for a living. And, I mean, they knocked it out of the park. I mean, I thought Nikki was by far the best.
Yeah.
And then you had some of the other guys. But, like, Bill Belichick I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like...
I did find it weird. We were talking about it earlier.
Edelman, Gronk.
The amount of, like, random old teammates that he had. Like, you get Edelman, Gronk, you get some of the guys, and then you're like, I think our Bears host Harrison was saying Rashad Perryman was there?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's a random one, no doubt.
Donovan Smith, the left tackle from the Bucks.
I mean, they won a Super Bowl together.
Yeah, but it was just, I don't know. When I think of Brady, I'm not like, oh, yeah, Rashad Perryman.
Sure, I could not agree with you more. But there was I think the only person
Randy Moss was there.
Moss was there. He was going to be the only one I said I thought looked a little bit nervous. Like, Moss to me was the only person that when he went up there was a little bit nervous.
You have to remember,
Bledsoe was hilarious.
Randy Moss is from the South. Like, he has a very Southern family. You can hear it in his voice. I guarantee you, he wasn't allowed to cuss growing up and say certain things. So him doing a roast is probably very unnatural for him.
Yeah.
If you listen to the way, even the way he talks like on like NFL Network or wherever he's like broadcasting, he's like a Phillip Rivers.
He's a well-mannered man.
He's like a Phillip,
he is.
He's like a Phillip Rivers where he says like "daggum."
Yeah. No, dude. But you could also tell like he was a very well-mannered man, and he went up there, and I don't think that he wanted to poke the bear too much. Definitely made a few good jokes, but like that's not the part of a roast. Like, the part of the roast is like you got to lay into that freaking person, and it was funny though. All I'm saying is if you haven't watched it, I know what the nation feels about Tom Brady, but at the same time, you got to watch it.
The real ones know. The only person that me and Mitch thought was missing from the roast was actually one of our loyal watchers, Lord Buddy Bear.
Yeah, there was a point where they were actually talking about a skit about how somebody said F Tom Brady on social media, and I was like, holy shit, is that freaking Lord Buddy Bear?
Is that Buddy Bear?
All right, man, we got a few super chats to get to here. I'll also say this. We do have 2 segments today. That is it. Chuggs and I made that video earlier out today on Jalen Guyton. And then, like I said earlier, I got to get out of here by 6 p.m. Eastern time at the absolute latest. Today is Alex and I's anniversary. 1 year we've been engaged. So if I'm late, we're not going to make it to year 2, which that was also one of the most common jokes out there. Like Bledsoe was like, if there's also one thing that I know Tom Brady can never do is celebrate his 28th wedding anniversary like me and my wife. And he was like, shout out to my wife. It was literally yesterday. Like it was good, man. What's up, Snake? I want t-shirt for daughter. Link did not work. Which link is my question?
Did you try chatsports.com/MILF?
God, I'm not going to do that. Because I'm looking right now, chatsports.com/RaiderMom. If you're looking for like our Mother's Day stuff that we're doing, chatsports.com/RaiderMom does 1,000% work. So, Chuggs, we could put that link for him down in the comments here real quick. I got it. If you want, if this is the link that you're talking about, I would say just go here. Yeah, somebody said, Gronk typed that. Saw Nikki's son, and she tried her jokes on Omaha. I don't know what that means. Saw Nikki's son, and she tried her jokes on Omaha. Do you get that or no?
Mm-mm.
Sorry, Husker. I don't get that one. L.A., what's up, fam? Did I miss anything noteworthy? Nope. No, we literally just started the show, so
yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect timing.
Happy anniversary. Thank you very much. Yeah, we were going to do something yesterday for Cinco de Mayo, but then, we're just like unpacking and doing all that stuff. So today we're going to have a little bit of food, maybe a glass of champagne, and watch a little NBA basketball, which I know she's stoked about. But we're going to have a good night tonight. Crash Dog, I appreciate that.
Husker saying Nikki Glazer on Sunday did her roast, but in Omaha.
Oh, I mean, that's interesting. She's always on roasts. I would say she's probably, outside of Jeff Ross, the one person that I just know going into a roast is going to be on it.
Yeah.
And she crushed. Like, dude, she was hilarious last night. All right, y'all, if anybody wants to get in our 50-50 raffle, $20 to enter. But I didn't tell you this. I'm going to add a little bit of a cherry on top today. On Wednesday, we're going to do that Zoom call. Right now, the only person that is in is Zon, just because we didn't get anybody to join us on Friday with the deal that we had. So here's the thing. First 10 people that get in our duck race today, you in. So if you're going to be in, all I ask is you send me your email. The first 10 people that join our duck race today here on the Raiders Report, also send me your email. That way I can add you to our Zoom call Wednesday, and that's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So just keep that one in mind. Let's go to Rebel. Don't worry, no injuries during that hit and run. That's good. I was watching your, I don't know if you posted it on Twitter or on Instagram. He got into a hit and run this weekend.
Wow.
Rebel. Yep. I mean, I forget what happened, Reb, where you posted something like your truck broke down and somebody ran into you and they just drove away. Which in today's day and age with cameras and stuff, I don't really understand why you would even do that, but people are also shitty. Thanks for the link, Snake Fist. We got you, my man. We got you.
Snake Fist.
You know what that reminded me of? Dodgeball. Purple Cobras. That's what we should have called the basketball team.
Yeah. Speaking of Purple Cobras,
I don't know how this is it.
What's your confidence level in the Raiders linebacker room?
I'll tell you what. I've seen a lot of good segues. That one might have been the best.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a segue. That one you don't even have to charge. Scale it 1 to 10, 1 being you're not confident at all in the Raiders linebacker room, 10 being it's the best linebacker room in the NFL. Again, one of the things that we're going to be breaking down today are, I would say, the top 10 linebackers most likely to sign with the Raiders, because there was an article by Sports Illustrated. Hondo Carpenter said that he thought that this team still needed to be able to add a linebacker. So I kind of took his idea there and I turned it into a segment here on the show, which is kind of one of the things that we do. Sancho says 6. Mikey says 8. King Shav's going to go with a 10. Lawrence says 9. Ultra VAB 6 to 8. Lucky King says 10. Confidence level in the Raiders linebacker room. I'm going to be real with y'all. I am shocked by those numbers.
That's that high?
That's high to me. I would say, I believe in Robert Spillane, right? Robert Spillane, I would say he's probably an 8 out of 10 in terms of my confidence level in his ability. Outside of Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo to me is probably a 5 or a 6. Tommy Eichenberg's a rookie, so you're probably in that 4 or 5 range. Luke Masterson, I mean, for me personally, my vote's probably closer to 5 and 6, which I'm not saying that means that they need to go out and sign a linebacker, because I've also said linebacker is the new running back position of defense, least important in the NFL, especially to a Patrick Graham system. But, like, if you could upgrade, do you decide to upgrade? I'll let you guys decide on which players once you see which guys there are, because not every player that you sign is going to be an upgrade at the linebacker position. And I think there is even going to be an argument to be had of even the guy that I have at 1, 2, 3. There's going to be people that are like, yeah, we're good, and that's okay. That's part of this experiment that we're going to be talking about today. Let's go to Hug D's. My boy Mitch, congrats on the anniversary. Sugar Slacks. Salute to all my friends in the chat. Go Raiders. Say it with me. Brock Bowers. So I get called Sugar Slacks by Wasted. That's one nickname that I've definitely learned over the past.
Brock Bowers.
And Graf when he says Brock Bowers. That's like their shtick. Something's going on over there with Brock Bowers.
You know what? No, what it is
I don't know.
It's WWE.
Is it?
So Paul Heyman, you know Paul Heyman, the wise man for the tribal chief Roman Reigns, of course.
Sure, let's go for it.
You watched WrestleMania, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he used to be the guy that was with Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
And whenever he would introduce him, he'd go, Brock Lesnar.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I'm guessing Graf is doing Brock Bowers.
I've heard him do it a few different times, and I was like, you know what?
I think Smitty,
we yell weird things, so
I think Smitty would be able to do it well. Smitty's
so locked in right now. New haircut, Smitty.
How would Paul Heyman say Brock Bowers? Brock Bowers. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
I've never seen that guy before, but I actually don't know if Smitty has either. But like, I'll tell you what, that sounded pretty good. That sounded pretty good, man. Hug D's. Shout out to you, man, for being a real one, and shout out to Graf and Wasted for being real ones as well. Which rookie are you most excited to watch? That's going to be the other segment that we break down today here on the Raiders Report. And I got my top 10 list because you had 8 rookies drafted, 17 rookies signed UDFAs. Just because that they were drafted doesn't mean that I'm the most excited to watch them. Mm-hmm. But I do have them ranked from 10 down to 1, and with Rookie Minicamp being May 10th, May 11th, like, which players, and I understand that we're not going to be able to, like, physically sit down and watch this practice, right? Like, I get that. But which players are you going to be looking for updates around the most is kind of how I want you to think of this question, because I am going to get updates. I am going to get news. I am going to get rumors. I am going to be able to talk to some people inside of that building. So when I hear...
Gus Edwards' son.
Who?
Or not, Gus Bradley's son.
Oh, give me Gus Edwards' son.
Give me Carter Bradley.
Carter Bradley? I'll tell you what.
Carter Bradley, number 1.
That's kind of a sneaky one right there. I'll be real. He's not number 1. Spoiler alert there. But, like, all right, if Chuggs wants to hear about Carter Bradley, cool. That gives me a little bit of a mental note of, all right, maybe I should keep the nation up to date with Carter Bradley news tidbits. Is there a certain rookie that you're excited to watch? Like, I already see JPJ, and we're going to get a lot of Jackson Power Johnsons, King Shab, JP Lacoste, Lulu Griffin in there from Vincenzo Peoples, which I thought was interesting.
Laube.
Boogie Ochoa says DeCamerion Richardson, Laube and Taylor from Def Halo, and that's how this is supposed to go. But, like, just because Brock Bowers was drafted in round 1, that doesn't mean that he's the most interesting player to watch during Rookie Minicamp.
He doesn't drink Dos Equis.
I actually, when I said that, the most interesting, I was trying to say it like, is Brock Bowers the most interesting man at Raiders Rookie Minicamp? But didn't work out. But I do think, like, where we can start to figure out with these guys, because you're not really going to learn all that much about them in this 2-day stretch. But what you are going to see, I think, is, like, maybe where exactly are they positioned? What are the coaches saying early on about them? What's the competition looking like? And we're going to be breaking all of that stuff down today here on the Raiders Report. Chuggs, I do want to give a shout-out, though, to some of the people that are getting in our 50-50 raffle. And friendly reminder, to the first 10 people that get in this race, I need y'all to send me your email. We're going to add you to our Zoom call here. which right now what it looks like is first person getting in is Ultra VAB. And he actually got in twice. So VAB,
he's in the Zoom twice.
He gets to zoom in twice, I guess. LA Crash Dog is in. I also see Dustin Country Boy in. And then Ron Raspberry also in. Luckily, I believe I have all of those emails minus Ultra VAB. So Ultra VAB, if you want, send me that email, and then that way I can get you in. Yeah, Dustin, I got your email, but I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. All right, so as it stands right now, 5 people are in, which means winner as it stands is going to get $50 here on the Raiders Report. So coming up here live on the show, let's look at some linebacker free agent targets. And if anybody didn't see the video that Chuggs and I released a little bit earlier today, it was right when the Raiders signed former Chargers wide receiver Jalen Guyton, pairing back up with Telesco. We broke all of that down right when the news broke, and that's why you subscribe. It's why you turn on those notifications, because I don't want you to miss the news, right? And I appreciate when people comment on those videos. Like I saw Ron Raspberry's comment on YouTube, and it was like, just saw the news that the Raiders signed Jalen Guyton, and then check YouTube, and you already had a video out. Like, that's what we do, and I know that not everybody has that ability to do it, but as soon as we get notified, Chuggs and I get into the studio, we start making something, because our job here is to be able to provide the content that you guys want.
We're like Drake's ghostwriters. As soon as Kendrick drops that diss track, we're like, got to get back to the studio. Got to get back to writing.
So does that mean, are you the ghostwriter then?
Yes, I am Drake's ghostwriter.
Okay. I'll say, I know this. I don't think I'm Drake or Kendrick. I don't think so. What would be your rap name if you had a rap name?
Young Chuggs.
Young Chuggs? I guess now if my rap name would be Sugar Slacks. Sugar Slacks. I kind of like it. What do you guys think? Sugar Slacks?
Let me know down in the comment section who's winning the battle so far, Drake or Kendrick. Type D for Drake, type K for Kendrick.
I'll say this.
Let me know.
Based off, I can honestly say I haven't heard a single song yet that either of them dropped. But based off of social media alone, I think Kendrick's winning.
We got to talk to the youth. DK.
I think Kendrick's winning based off of just what I'm reading.
Who's winning, Drake or Kendrick? DK says Kendrick.
Yeah? I could hear how upset she was to answer that. I couldn't hear anything she said.
She said she's not paying attention to it. She's better than that.
Oh, okay. Is that what Spirit Fingers too? All? Ultra VAB, sorry, won't be able to attend. I work at that time. All good, man. All good. All good.
We'll forgive you.
Ultra VAB. He's one of the OGs here on the Raiders Report. See, that's what happens. You're a ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a ghostwriter. All right, y'all. Let's get into our first segment coming up here on the show. Also, Brandon Jasper is in. Brandon, and as he put in the comments, another loss. Brandon, someday you will win.
Has Brandon won?
Legitimately, I don't know. I'm actually not even kidding you. Brandon, have you... He's had to have won at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He won on January 18th.
Where were you January 18th?
And December 3rd. Hang on a second here. And October 23rd. All right, so Brandon, you've won 3 times. I'll be honest, though, for how much he races, maybe not in his favor. Maybe not 100%.
One more super chat, and then we'll get going.
One more, and then we'll get into our segment here on the show. Let's go to John Rodriguez. Mitch, Brady is a straight-out wussy because he got caught on hot mic telling Jeff, don't ever talk about my beloved daddy again. Yet, when they talked about his wife, he laughed it off. If you can't take a joke.
Ex-wife.
I'll say this. I don't know the relationship Brady has with Kraft, and it kind of reminds me of a relationship that you would have like with a grandparent. And I'll be real, like if somebody were to make fun of my grandmother or grandfather, I would take definitely a different type of feeling towards it, where if they were to joke around my ex-wife, you know what I mean? Like And I think Brady expected them to be able to poke fun at him, and in that situation, I 100% agree with you where it's like you signed up for a roast, anything is on the table, right? Like, especially when you think of all the other jokes that went down.
Dude.
I mean, come on.
The fact that he was mad about that was actually one of the softest things. They talked about Aaron Hernandez made some of the most vile jokes about him.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And then something that is very true as well, they were just like, oh, yeah, like Robert Kraft massages.
But I mean, like, what else would you say about, like, if you're at a roast, right? Where's like the number one thing you're going to go to with Robert Kraft? It's right there, right? You know exactly where you need to go. You can't make, because it's not very difficult, or it's not really easy to make fun of somebody that's a billionaire.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? You're going to go to the thing that's the most notable, the most recent, and John, I hear you because I kind of think the same way, like with all these people now coming out today being like, that are upset about the roast, don't watch it. You know what I mean? Like, don't watch it. If you're going to get upset about a roast, then you shouldn't go. That's like you getting upset, and I always say these stupid like analogies, but that's like getting mad at KFC for serving chicken. Just don't go. Just don't go. Dustin, happy anniversary. Thank you, man. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. It's kind of hard to believe we've been engaged now for one whole year. Who makes a bigger impact, Bowers or Zeus this year? This is a really intriguing question. I'll actually say that I think Zamir White ends up having more total yards than Brock Bowers. However, I do think Bowers is going to impact the game more just from the defensive coordinator for that opposing team. They're going to be more worried about Bowers than they will Zamir White, where they're going to try to figure out how to scheme to take Bowers out of the game a little bit more, which I do think is going to open up things for Devontae. It's going to open up things for Jacoby. But, like, total yards, it's going to be Zamir. Zamir's also probably going to get more touches than what Bowers gets on a weekly basis, which doesn't really surprise anybody by that.
Bowers is going to get some touches too.
Oh, yeah.
Zamir's just going to get
more.
Yeah, he's going to get like Robert Kraft in a massage parlor touches. That's how many touches Zamir is going to get next year.
Don't say that shit. Coming up next here on the show, let's get into some linebacker free agent targets here on the Raiders Report. I mean, though, we should do a roast once a year here on this channel.
We should, every time we hire a new person, we should just do a roast of them.
But you don't know that person, though. Like, I feel like the only way you can do a roast and do it effectively is, like, if you do it with somebody that you know very well. I mean, dude, I'm not going to lie.
Non-Robert Kraft.
If I had one person to nominate in this studio to do a roast of,
Jack,
he would never be able to handle it.
It would be Jack.
If we did a roast of Jack, he would no.
It would be Jack, and it wouldn't even be close.
I'm not going to lie, but there's no way.
One person to do a roast of in the office. Who is it? It'd be Jack.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. A Yoda roast would be kind of wild, but dude, Lauderay wouldn't be able to do it. No way. There's no chance he'd be able to make it through a roast. No chance, man. No chance. All right, you guys don't know what we're talking about. Let's get into some of this topics here on the Raiders. We're going to talk a bit about the linebackers that they could target. Also, Nico Laz, you in. You in. You ready? You ready? Coming up here on the show, linebacker free agent targets for the Silver and Black. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, according to Sports Illustrated, the Raiders should look to potentially sign a linebacker in free agency. I saw an article released by SI, and I was like, okay, I've had a few people ask me, and I know people really trust Hondo, and they listen to Hondo and what he has to say. So I said, okay, the Raiders right now, as it stands, have 2 open roster spots. Remember, they signed Michael Gallup. They signed Jalen Guyton Guyton was literally today at the time that I'm making this video. So that means they have 2 open roster spots, probably somewhere around like $14 million in salary cap space, even after the draft. So what we're going to be looking at today is the top 10 options in free agency. I'll also say this, just because you see a name here on today's show does not mean that I think that the Raiders should sign that player. If anything, it's here are the 10 best options for Patrick Graham's defense, for Antonio Pierce, for Mike Caldwell, the Raiders linebacker coach. And if you don't like those options, then you don't need to sign anybody. Just because you don't like the linebacker room doesn't mean that there are better options out there. Maybe there are, maybe there aren't. We'll talk about that, though, here in just a little bit. First off, though, I do want to show you the Raiders linebacker room, and as it stands right now, you got Robert Spillane. He's going to be a lock to make this roster. Divine Diablo is going to be in the final year of his contract. Luke Masterson has been a UDFA, but, let's give my man some flowers. Has been playing some pretty solid football. You drafted Tommy Eichenberg in round 5 out of Ohio State. Amari Burney, 6th-round pick from Florida last year, different regime. Then you decided to bring back Kenai Malga, and then Darian Butler. He's got the connection with Antonio Pierce from their days back at ASU. So here's my honest question with the nation out there. What is your confidence level in the Raiders linebacker room? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1, you're not confident at all. 10, it's the best linebacker group in the National Football League. The way that I would answer this question is this. If you are somewhere that's like 1 to 5, you probably want to go out and add another linebacker to this room, whether it's depth or whether it's that potential starter. If you're like 6 and above, first off, congratulations. But then also on top of that, then maybe you don't need to add a linebacker, because I've always said that linebacker right now in the NFL is like the running back position. It's the most easy position to replace, especially in a Patrick Graham defense. So just because you're going to see some of these players, that doesn't mean that I think that they're good enough to make the roster. It's more of just, all right, if Hondo's going to say, if Sports Illustrated is going to say the Raiders need to go out and add a linebacker, cool, it's easy to say that, but what are the options out there? So I'm going to show you the top 10 options. Y'all can figure out who you think's the best fit. We are going to go from 10. We're going to work our way down to 1, and I'll tell you why I have these guys ranked where I do. Let's go to number 10 here on the list. It's Curtis Bolton, and Bolton was a member of this team the past 2 seasons, and let's face it, I think the other part of this question is, cool, if you're going to add a linebacker, does that mean that you're going to try to find somebody that gives you that ability on special teams? Because Bolton is only a special teams player. That's what he is. If you're trying to get him to do anything more than that, it's just simply not going to work. He's only good at stopping the run. He is a good gunner for special teams just because he's got that, reckless abandon, flying down the field, pinning his ears back, going to hit somebody. He's played 23 games for the Raiders the last 2 seasons and has shown that he brings that fiery tenacity ability. But, in terms of actually being a reliable linebacker, especially in coverage, that's just not really what he brings to the table. Let's go to number 9 here on my list. It's Cam Gill, linebacker, and he's kind of bounced around with a few different teams. Most recently was a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and 12 tackles last season. And some of these names, I'm telling you right now, they're not going to be eye-popping names. That's part of the video here. Played with the Raiders linebacker coach, though, Mike Caldwell, for 2 seasons in Tampa. That was back in 2020 and in 2021. Missed 2022 season with a Liz Frank injury. But, if you look at his numbers from last year, very limited sample size, 83.8 overall PFF grade, decent against coverage, good against pass rush, good against run defense. If you're looking for somebody that just can come in there and compete almost like a Michael Gallup, or almost like maybe he'd probably be a little bit more of a Jalen Guyton type signing, where you're like, I don't know if this guy's going to end up making this roster, but could he provide a little bit of extra competition? And does he know Mike Caldwell, which he obviously does from their time together? Could that be somebody that just ends up being that final roster spot? Only time's going to tell. If you're looking for the most interactive and informative Raiders channel on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Not only do we go live at least 3 times a week, we're also going to be doing a lot of insane videos in the offseason, and I can't wait when the NFL schedule release, which is going to be this Thursday, May 9th, when that schedule comes out, we're also going to give you our schedule for our live Madden simulations. We did it last season. It was a huge success. If you like hanging out with the nation, if you're like me and you just want to listen to people, don't get me wrong, I like listening to the Graph. I like listening to the Wasted. If you enjoy watching those guys, I think you're going to enjoy what we do here as well. Let's go to number 8 here on our free agent linebacker targets. Calvin Munson. And what you're going to see with a lot of these names is at this point in the offseason, I'm looking for connections, right? Like, I'm looking for, have you worked with anybody on our roster and what's the fit? Munson was on the Dolphins in 2019. That was with Patrick Graham. He's also played on the Patriots, Giants, and Dolphins. The reason why that I thought that that was notable is because this organization is built around right now, especially, it is. There's a lot of Patriot influence. There's a lot of Giant influence. There's a lot of Miami Dolphin influence just over the past 5 seasons. That's a cold, hard fact in this. 9 games played the past 2 seasons, 0 starts. So, again, you're looking at just probably a special teams player, really, really cheap type of deal. 1 year, $1.2 million contract. Let him come in. Let him compete during the offseason. And could that be an extra fuel to the fire for some of these younger guys like a Amari Burney, like a Luke Masterson, just to light that fire underneath their butt a little bit to try to make that 53-man. Let's go to number 7. This one's a little bit more of a notable name, Quan Alexander. And when I say Quan Alexander, I think a lot of y'all are going to think of him as the elite linebacker edge rusher that he was with the San Francisco 49ers. 14 starts, though, the last 2 seasons. He did play 17 games in 2022, which I'm not going to lie to y'all, even I was surprised by that fact, and Chuggs was too. Recently has been bad against the run, but I think he can still get after the quarterback. If you're looking for the Quan Alexander of what he was a few years ago, that's just simply not going to happen, right? If you want a player in the way that the Raiders would need to use him, and I make this reference all the time here on this show, I want a Benson Mayowa. I want a Benson Mayowa in 2019 when him and Max Crosby combined and Mayowa had 8 sacks. You put Quan Alexander in the game on 3rd down, 4th down, strictly only letting him pin his ears back, get after the quarterback. That does have some, that's a valuable role right now for the Raiders because outside of your top few edge rushers, and I know we're talking linebackers, but the way that I would use Quan Alexander is probably a little bit more of an edge rusher, just in case, 5-10 snaps a game when some of your other players do need a little bit of a breather. Mother's Day, y'all, it is right around the corner. It's crazy how soon this is going to be, and probably your final opportunity to make sure that you get something for your mom. Make sure you get something for your wife. If you're a parent out there and your daughter, she's got kids, hey, get her something special. And to me, I think Raider Nation is amazing because it proves to me every single day that you don't have to be blood to be family. And if you want to try to continue to grow the nation, hey, you can grow both families here at once. How do you do it? Go to chatsports.com/RaiderMom. We got T-shirts. There's, jerseys. What are these things called that hold wine? Tumbler. I couldn't think of the name. We got coffee holders, which I actually just got my mom one of these. We got Best Mom Ever T-shirts. Bottom line is if you need just that extra gift, because my mom's not really easy to shop for, I'll be honest with you. She'll tell me every time, don't get me anything. Don't get me anything. If your mom is the queen of, hey, don't get me anything for Mother's Day, well, guess what? You're not just not going to get her anything. Get her some flowers, maybe get her a Raiders t-shirt or something like that. Chatsports.com/RaiderMom. And for the daring people out there, this is the last day that we have this link as well. Chatsports.com/RaiderMilf. That's up to you. You can click on it if you want. Chatsports.com/RaiderMilf. You can spell it RaiderMilf. You're welcome. Let's go to number 6 here. We're raising the bar. We're going to go with Anthony Barr at the linebacker position. And this is another probably bigger name guy that I know a lot of people, when they watch this show, they're going to be a little bit more accustomed to. But with age, father time, undefeated, dealt with hamstring and groin injuries last year. He missed 13 games. When he's healthy, I do still think that he can be a reliable linebacker in the National Football League. I also am a believer in what does it take for a guy like Barr to make the Raiders? Now, the reason why he's ranked 6th is because I do think that this would be somebody that could get into the starting lineup if he's healthy. If he is healthy, he's going to be one of our starters. The other way that he potentially gets on the roster goes, all right, Luke Getsy's like, well, I actually went up against this guy from 2014 to, 2021. He was a member of the Minnesota Vikings. Getsy, when he was with the Green Bay Packers and obviously with the Bears as well, that's a lot of sample size of you going up against, or at least seeing somebody, not just one time a year, twice a year. And sure, there was a year there he was with the Cowboys, but if I'm Getsy and I'm in that offensive coordinator standpoint, hell, even if you talk to a guy like Devontae Adams, you're going to be like, do you remember Anthony Barr? Sometimes those are the little types of conversations that need to happen just to get a spark fired. You bring him in on a workout. If he ends up being healthy, Anthony Barr could be a member of the Silver and Black. The biggest reason why I made this show is because The number one linebacker that I probably get asked about right now of, hey, Mitch, should Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco, should they bring in an LB? Shaq Leonard is by far the number one name that I get. Started 12 games last season. He played with the Philadelphia Eagles, also played with the Indianapolis Colts. The problem that I have with Shaq Leonard is, and I hate this because he was one of the best linebackers in the entire league. Then he started getting these nerve issues in his neck and his back, and I don't think he got it in his pussy or his crack. But I do know this, like his 2023 PFF grade, Chuggs like, wow, I can't believe you said that. 62.8 overall grade, 66.9 run defense grade. Like, he's not that elite linebacker that I think a lot of people still remember and think about. But could he be somebody if he's healthy? Sure. I think what you're going to have to pay him is going to be somewhere over like $5 million. And that's not a lot of money, but for the linebacker position, considering some of the other holes that we have, and if we're going to spend bigger at a position, I'd rather it still be at the cornerback spot. But for a guy like Shaq Leonard, though, again, do you like anytime I hear back and neck injuries, it's a rule that I have. I usually throw up the X and I'm like, you know what? I'm good on it. I'm going to stay away from it. And if I miss on it, I miss on it. It sucks. Now, if he could prove one more year again that he's able to go out there and play at a decently high level and stay healthy, then maybe we look at it next season. There's just some other names that I think are a little bit more reliable and for what the Raiders need and at that price tag than a guy like Shaq Leonard. Let's go to number 4 here on my list. Just speaking of injuries, Tyus Bowser. And kind of the same thing, what I'm talking about Shaq here. Not the same injury, but to me, Bowser is absolutely a name that's going to be on the Raiders' radar just simply because he was cut by the Ravens this offseason. He missed all of 2023 with a knee injury, and if you know anybody that's close to with Baltimore, they were very confused on the Tyus Bowser injury. Like, they thought he was going to be able to play. I kind of would put it with, like, the Brandon Facyson injury last season with the Raiders where earlier on you're like, all right, this guy made the 53-man roster. When are we going to see him on the field? And it just every single week was like, nobody has any information on Brandon Facyson, yet he's still on the roster. That's kind of what happened with Bowser. I will say this, the best season that he's ever had, at least I think so, was back in 2021 when Rob Ryan was the Ravens' inside linebacker coach. And, Bowser's probably going to be more of that outside linebacker type of player, so maybe the inside linebacker connection isn't all there. But I also know from players that I talk to, from people that are inside there, they really, really value Rob Ryan's opinion. And if Ryan is saying, like, hey, this is a linebacker, this is a guy that we could use, this would be a good fit for us, I do think he has enough say with Antonio Pierce, with Mike Caldwell, with the Raiders, where they would at least pick up the phone, give Tyus Bowser a call. Coming up next here on the show, we got the top 3 free agent linebacker options here for the Las Vegas Raiders. And again, this list is not based on who is the best player. This list is based on best player, fit, how much money it's going to cost, all that. I got my top 3 options coming up here in just a second. I do got to give a shout-out, though, to the Noti Gang. Shout out to David Silva, Ron Raspberry, Martin. I know y'all are always watching the show. I know you're subscribed. You got your notification bell on. If you don't see your name on here, or if you're like, Mitch, I want to see my name on here, because I see some people saying, Noti Gang, Noti Gang, Noti Gang. Here's the thing. You got to be the first person to do it. That's why it's important to hit that notification bell. Shout out to all 3 of these people for always watching the show. Let's go to number 3 here. It's a trip down memory lane, if you will. Number 3 is Blake Martinez, and I know there's going to be one Raider fan. It's a guarantee. Mitch, Blake Martinez, he retired back in 2022. You're right. You are 100% right. I'm actually pretty sure it happened week 8 because I can remember the text. Graf sent me a text 2 days before Martinez retired, and he goes, hey, just so you know, Martinez is going to be retiring later in this week. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Because at the time, he was probably the Raiders' best linebacker, but he was also signed because of his knowledge with Patrick Graham, and he was with PG from 2020 to 2022 before he retired. He retired from the NFL, but then he returned last season, played with the Carolina Panthers. I actually think he got cut by them, and then he ends up going to Pittsburgh. And when he was with the Steelers, he was actually playing some pretty solid football. The other reason why I put him at 3 here is because the Raiders brought in Gerald Alexander, who was the safety coach last season for Pittsburgh. So maybe he's got a little bit of extra connection here with Blake Martinez. On top of that, also played with the Packers from 2016 to 2019. So maybe Getsy got to see him a little bit. Devontae Adams obviously got to see him a little bit. And the fact that Patrick Graham wanted Blake Martinez once, maybe he wants him back on the roster yet again. Though the way that the whole thing ended and with the whole Pokemon thing, if you guys haven't seen the Blake Martinez Pokemon story, it's definitely one to look at. But Rafael Murillo, You're right. I choose you. Let's go to number 2 here. We got Marcus Golden, and another player that I've brought up here multiple times on this show, especially last offseason because of his connections with Patrick Graham. He was on the Steelers last year, played in 16 games, didn't start in any. He did play with PG back in 2020, and the reason why he's number 2 on this list is because I do actually think that Golden could still help out this Raiders linebacker room. An 86.5 overall grade, 77.8 against the run. I'm not going to sit up here and expect these type of numbers for a whole season because he played in spurts. But, could you at least find another linebacker that gives you, 200, 250 snaps? Somebody where just in case the Divine Diablo goes down, in case Tommy Eichenberg isn't ready yet. Are we confident relying on Amari Burney? Are we confident in relying on Luke Masterson for long periods of time if one of our top linebackers ends up going down? To me, the Raiders would be confident in Marcus Golden, though I will admit, could be a name of, in case an injury happens, you look at Golden. Might not be somebody that they want to go out and sign right now. To me, though, the number one name, and this is somebody that, and I'm going to be real, I said earlier on the show, who would be the number one linebacker that you would sign, or if, you did? To me, it's Zach Cunningham, and this is the only dude that I think that could legitimately start for this team right now here at the linebacker position. I would even have more confidence in Cunningham than I would in a dude like Divine Diablo. Played 13 games last season, started in 10 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Mainly is just a run stopper, and I know the Raiders already have one in Spillane, but I am curious of maybe that's just the type of player that they're looking for because they also went out and they drafted Tommy Eichenberg, and that's what Cunningham is at this point. He is a run stopper, and if the Raiders want to go with more of these run stoppers at linebacker, I think it's only a matter of time before you see a guy like Patrick Graham go, okay, I want to find another Jabril Peppers safety hybrid, an Isaiah Palomeo, which is kind of one of the things that they're trying to do, where you bring in more run stoppers at linebacker, and instead of trying to find a coverage linebacker, you just find a safety that's a little bit bigger, maybe built closer to a linebacker, but just has more athletic ability to be able to go out and cover guys, where if you're able to bring in Zach Cunningham on a recently decent deal, 85 tackles last season, to me, this is the number one, and he is the best linebacker available out there on the board. Now, if you didn't like my top 10, give me some names that you all think. Who should it be? If the Raiders can sign one linebacker, who would you want it to be? Also, I want you to consider fit. I want you to consider price tag. All of that has to go into the equation. For me personally, again, it is Zach Cunningham would be the number one player. If you're looking for some other cheap options, though, Marcus Golden, Blake Martinez, Tyus Bowser. Realistically, this list to me starts at number 4. If you do want to find just some other cheap names out there, Cam Gill, Calvin Munson would be some other names that I would at least throw out there. Now, if you made it this far in the show, shout out to all of y'all. And again, we got close to 700 people watching this live thing. I am going to be continuing making videos the entire offseason, May, June, July. If there's one thing that we're going to bring, it's the content here on the Raiders Report. National Beverage Day, your favorite non-alcoholic drinks. Interesting. I would say favorite non-alcoholic drink.
Top 3.
I would probably say, I like Diet Coke. I'd probably go with Diet Coke.
Diet Coke or Coke Zero?
Coke Zero is better. Coke Zero is up there. I'm also on a hot summer day, a good sweet tea, a little bit of mint. That's hard to beat. I might even go with Petey here. Orange juice.
Thai tea.
Can I go with juice?
Thai tea with boba. Do you like boba tea?
Oh, dude. Boba tea can get it.
Oh, boba tea's so good. Dr. Pepper, very popular with people in the office.
Actually, the number one drink that's non-alcoholic that I consume more than anything, and it's not close, is coffee. Iced coffee, hot coffee. If you told me what drink would put me in the biggest tizzy, if I couldn't have it for the rest of my life, coffee. I tried to give up coffee one time for Lent.
Uncle Doobie, you have my heart. One of my favorite drinks of all time, Arnold Palmer. Bless that man for mixing lemonade and tea.
That's my dad's favorite drink.
Oh, it's so good.
Arnold Palmer alert.
You know who has a good Arnold Palmer? Chick-fil-A.
I believe that. But then again, you could say, what does Chick-fil-A have that's bad? They might not have anything that's... I just don't know if I've ever had anything bad from Chick-fil-A.
Their brownie's not that good.
All right, I'll be honest. I've never had the brownie from Chick-fil-A. I'll have to try it now.
The chocolate cookie is gas.
Can get it? Okay. The chocolate cookie can get it, though you can't get it. At least we can here.
Yeah. Let's see. Sweet tea.
Dude, horchata, also very good. Horchata is something that I just learned about recently. It's unbelievable.
Monster energy drink.
A Monster? See,
I used to be on Monster, but then I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. If I do like any energy like supplements anymore, it's really just Panda Sups. Like that's really all I try to do, just because like they work with my body really well. I also see Nicholas Potter.
I see
you're
some
in, and then Navman in.
Nico said Canes is better. I don't doubt it.
I love Canes.
The only thing with Canes though is I can't get anything healthy. There's nothing good that's healthy at Canes.
All right, that's like. Why are you trying to eat healthy, though, by going to
Canes?
I'm
saying, like, I was saying Chick-fil-A, and he's like, you need to go to Canes. Canes is better. At Chick-fil-A, I can actually get good, healthy stuff.
There's good, healthy options, and I don't disagree with that.
At Canes, the
only
only
but
option
you're not
is...
going.
But Canes is the only option is chicken tenders.
Sure.
That's
but
why...
You're not going to Canes to eat healthy.
I know, that's what... Okay. I think we're saying the same thing.
All right. But you're making it bad that you can't get anything healthy at Canes. I'm saying that I don't even think that that's into the equation because, like, who's going to Canes to eat healthy? That's like watching a roast and getting upset about jokes. You know what I mean? Like
Big Red. How are you on Big Red?
I know this. If you don't chew it, then you. But
no, he's talking about the drink.
Wait, Big Ben?
No, like it's like Big Red. Yeah.
It's like birch beer, right? I think it's birch beer. That's what it's called.
It's this Big Red soda.
Maybe I'm tripping. Yeah, Big Red soda. Is it birch beer? Is that what it's called? That's like what I think of it as. Maybe I'm tripping. No?
Do you know what is good? And we don't really have it in Texas, but I don't know. I think it's from the Carolinas.
I think I know where you're going.
Cheerwine?
Yes.
Cheerwine is amazing if you've never had it.
Cheerwine?
But it might upset some people in here. Might be better than Dr. Pepper.
Cheerwine?
Dude.
It's cherry soda.
It tastes like Swedish fish.
Dude, now I feel like I will say this. I'm not as crazy about Swedish fish as like a lot of other people. I like chocolate.
A good cream soda can be underrated. A good root beer. Like if
I got one for you. What about a root beer float?
Root beer float, that's good. Yeah.
I love root beer floats.
Or what I got everybody on the office on, dirty sodas. A little root beer, a little coffee creamer in there.
Yeah, see,
mix it up.
I can do that occasionally though. That would mess up my stomach. I feel like if I drank too many.
Go to A&W. They make the root beer fresh.
Huh? Crown vanilla and cream soda.
Non-alcoholic though.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the question.
It's non-alcoholic.
Yeah, it's all right though. We almost got it.
He's new. He's a new guy. It's okay.
That's all right.
We'll take it easy on him.
I'm not a cream soda fan. Yes.
No? I am. I like it. Favorite non-alcoholic drinks. Today is National Beverage Day. Also, remember, if you want to get in for our 50-50 raffle, $20 Venmo is how you get in. Also, the first 10 people that get in, you are also going to be on our Zoom call on Wednesday. So right now, as it stands, I got...
That's a sneaky one, Vincenzo.
VAB, Crash Dog, Dustin Country, Ron Raspberry, Tuna, Nico, Nicholas Potter, Navman. Winner right now would get $90.
That's a sneaky one. Vincenzo said chocolate milk.
That is a sneaky one.
I could F up some chocolate milk.
Do you like strawberry milk? Because I do.
Marshall.
I actually do like strawberry milk.
Top 3 non-alcoholic drinks.
Yeah?
Strawberry lemonade's fire.
Strawberry lemonade is very good.
A good strawberry lemonade slaps.
All right, let's go to Rod. Rod, I think you sent in a few super chats, but it finally got through here.
A body armor? Okay, we haven't gotten Gatorade or body armor yet, so.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. Sometimes that's a good pick-me-up. Let's go to
Water?
Rod. Haven't heard a mention about the training camp move to Costa Mesa, California yet. Live in Vegas, but 110 on summer days meant too many indoor practices.
Stewart's Crane Center.
So Stewart's is very good.
STEW.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a Northeast thing.
I've never had that.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I've never had
that's
Stewart's.
That's a Northeast thing. To my knowledge, Rod, it's not 100% official yet, though. It's basically like 99%, and this is the truth of. So the Raiders have been going Henderson practices. Also remember, based on what I understand, some of the players didn't like how early some of the practices were every single day, which, I mean, kind of makes sense. Like, you're always those early practices. Me, personally, I would like them more if they were in the morning. I'm a morning person.
We already know Allie's
But
favorite is
I
Dr.
forget
Pepper.
the exact name of the facility that they are planning to go to, but I also kind of like it because one of the things that Max Crosby said in one of his recent podcasts was like he's trying to build a facility where a bunch of his guys can just like kind of come together and kind of like build like that true like, I don't know, team bonding experience. If you're the Raiders and you go to a totally different spot, like you're not going to be able to go home, which definitely is going to suck for families for a small period of time. But like you're also just going to be like with your teammates, with your guys, and like that's where like that extra bonding is really going to come into play.
West Coast Spartan, I was about to say it, a very sneaky one, specifically McDonald's Coke.
Yeah, McDonald's Coke, very good. They also pay extra money to get that extra flavor in there. Hibiscus tea Mexican style.
Allie's one of the lead contributors to the Dr. Pepper gang in this office.
Really?
Oh, that's her number one.
See, I'm not.
Allie.
I like Dr. Pepper. I do. Also, can I go pee real quick? And
of course.
And I got to change my jersey. And then when I get back, next segment coming up here is we're going to be talking about the rookies.
Ooh, Rebel, that's a good one too. Agua Frescas. I could F up an Agua Fresca. A sneaky good one too for Aguas Frescas, the Cantaloupe. Like the melon one, very good. Calypso's Lemonade, Orange Gatorade. What's the best flavor of Gatorade? Is it blue? Lemon lime? I don't know. I'm weird. I like orange. Orange Gatorade slaps. Allie, best flavor of Gatorade? Cool Blue from Allie. Best flavor of Gatorade. Or if you say cucumber lime, I swear to God.
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate.
Red?
Glacier cherry is gas.
The white cherry?
No, it's not white.
Boo. I'd rather go with the red. Frost blue, orange. I like the orange. Purple. Strawberry's pretty good. I could never get cucumber lime. I can never get on the cucumber lime bandwagon. Coming up, we have 10 rookies Mitch is most excited to watch during rookie minicamp. Coming up, the OG lemon lime from Spivey. That's what Marsh said. Marsh said lemon lime. Nate, I can never get into the cucumber lime. Like, I don't mind cucumber lime drinks, like a mixed drink or something, but like the cucumber lime Gatorade, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. Also, I don't hate the like Riptide Rush, that flavor, or the it's like a green and a purple. It was like a Riptide Rush, and there's another one. Those ones were good too. I could never get into the cucumber lime Gatorade, Mitch.
I don't know if I've ever had. My favorite personally is the lemon lime. I think it's the one that I could drink the most consistently. Anything but red. If you've got red Gatorade,
I like lemon lime.
You're a cop.
I like lemon lime, but whenever I have lemon lime Gatorade, it just for me, I feel like I had that every time I was sick.
Oh.
Every time I was sick, my mom would get me like a lemon lime Gatorade.
I like lemon lime. That was my Gatorade of choice back in my baseball days.
Which now looking back, it's like she gave me just this sugary ass drink.
I mean, there's electrolytes in it. I mean, that's like, I can remember my mom would give me Sunny D because it was orange juice.
What was
You know what I mean? Like,
you're homesick from school? What was the I got the same meal every time I was sick from my parents. What was the go-to meal?
yeah, I have no idea. I mean,
It would be
I don't know if I ever stayed home when I lived with my dad.
it would be
but-
Gatorade and then one of two things. It would either be Gatorade and then fried eggs and toast, or chicken noodle soup from Campbell's.
There was probably some chicken noodle soup involved. If it was my mother, no doubt about it. If it was Richie, Richie's saying, rub some dirt on it. Like, can you cut the grass if you're too sick to stay home from school? Like, yeah, I don't think so. All right, y'all, let's get into the next segment coming up here on the show. Again, I do got to get out of here in an hour. Today's Alex and I's anniversary, and I just cannot be late for that one. So, next segment coming up here is we're going to be looking at the Raiders rookies. The minicamp dates are May 10th and May 11th. So what I decided to do is rank the top 10 rookies that I'm just looking forward to the most to, get some updates on, get some of the inside stuff, scoops on all these guys that are in rookie minicamp, which kind of wild. It's already here, man. This is the off season, but this is also the time like where you get to learn players and you get to learn Chuggs and I a lot better. And this is like where I think like as a YouTube channel, we grow as a community, we grow as a family. So like when you're watching now, that's where the real ones are at. Real talk there. What up, Busy? Appreciate you, man. I'm for me. Appreciate it. E. Lee, Frank, Raphael, Surfa. Believe me when I tell you, appreciate it. Alex and I, we get a lot of love from the nation, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So, Chuggs, give me a thumbs up. Coming up here right now, let's get into the top 10 Raiders rookies I'm most excited to watch at Rookie Minicamp. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up here on today's show, we're going to be looking at the top 10 Raiders rookies I'm most excited to watch at Raiders Rookie Minicamp. Now, before we get into the top 10 list, there is some news around Minicamp that we'll try to take a little bit of a deep dive and just show you why we're really making this video. But, think about this, right? A lot of rumors around free agency, a lot of rumors around the draft. Now it's May, June, and July. I want you to hit that like button if you're fired up for some actual football activities, because don't get me wrong, this show is not for everyone. The nation, it's not for everyone. And football in May, it's not for everyone. But it's for me. I bleed silver and black. I love football. I mean, shit, it's Mitchell Renz 365 for a reason. And if you're fired up for some actual football, hit that like button right now. So if you don't know the Raiders rookie minicamp dates, they are May 10th to May 11th. The Raiders and all NFL teams, you're allowed to do 3 days. Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco decided that 2 days was plenty. You drafted 8. You also have 17 UDFAs they ended up signing. So a lot of players you're going to be looking at, 25 in total. Also not impacting minicamp, but it is impacting training camp, is they might be moving to Costa Mesa, which is California. I don't remember the exact facility that they're going to be in, but it's just so damn hot in Henderson, Nevada. They have to get up so early every single morning. This I actually think would be a good thing. On top of that, if you have to go to a different location for training camp, I think it also means that you're going to be staying together as a team. And maybe I'm a sucker just because I love the movie. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, Remember the Titans, but can we get a little Remember the Titans action here with Antonio Pierce? I wouldn't be upset about it. Shit, turn into Denzel. Let's get it. So here we go. We're going to go from 10. We're going to work our way down to one of the top 10 rookies that I am the most excited to learn about, to hear about, to get information about during rookie minicamp. Coming in here at number 10, it's going to be Ron Stone Jr., UDFA from Washington State. And last year I really fell in love with Adam Plant Jr. Mr. Plant, if you're watching, hopefully you're doing well, my man. But Ron Stone Jr. is kind of like my new Adam Plant, where good edge player, going to give a lot of hustle, tenacity. It's all there. 60 tackles, 5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. The other reason why I'm just curious to hear more about him is because I know the Raiders defensive ends. Like, you got Crosby, Kuntz. Outside of that, Tyree Wilson on top of that. But, the depth there at edge, it's not all that great. Could he find a spot on the roster, especially if you're not thrilled of what happened to Janarius Robinson this offseason? Let's go to number 9 here on the list. It's Jaquan Shepard. And money talks. The The Raiders gave Ron Stone $170,000, which was the second most for all UDFAs. The guy that ended up getting the most guaranteed money, it was Jaquan Shepard, cornerback from Maryland. 6'2", 200-pounder, 31 tackles last season, 8 PBUs. Also has a friendship with Jacorian Bennett, and what if one of the ways that you're really trying to get more out of Jacorian is you bring in one of his buddies from the season before to, maybe maximize his potential? And one of the things that just never gets talked about is if you got a young player in the NFL, brand new regime comes in, you might feel like you're one of the odd men out, and I don't think that Pierce wants him to feel that way. How does Shepard work? What does he look like? Because to give a UDFA that much money tells me that this is one of the players that they're going to be keeping an eye on. Let's go to number 8 here, and it's Tommy Eichenberg, linebacker out of Ohio State, drafted in round 5 of this past year's draft at 148 overall. He reminds me a lot of Robert Spillane, and I'm kind of curious to see if the Raiders plan on using Eichenberg the exact same way that they use Spillane of, all right, if Spillane goes down, it's Eichenberg's turn to step up. Or are they trying to get 2 Spillanes at linebacker because nobody, and I mean, some people like the Spillane signing. I was not a fan of it, so, give me the big L there. But if you knew that it worked out, if you found a certain mold of a linebacker that you're like, this guy can be a Pro Bowl type of linebacker, why not try to go out and also draft somebody very similar to that role? So how they use Eichenberg and what does that mean for Masterson? What does that mean for Bernie? What does that mean for even Divine Diablo? Because I think a lot of people know Spillane's the main guy. Outside of that, what if they value Eichenberg more than Diablo because he's only got 1 year left on his contract, and the Raiders did decide to draft Eichenberg after all. So let me know down below. This is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. Who was your favorite Raiders rookie this year? Not to watch at minicamp. I'm talking out of the 17 UDFAs, out of the 8 players drafted. Who was your favorite Raiders rookie this year? Let me know down below. You're about to get it with the YouTube ad break, so scroll on down and give me your answer. Let's go to number 7 here. It's Dylan Laube. Not my favorite rookie. My favorite's coming up here in just a little bit, and if you watch this show, you probably already know who it is. Laube, though, is a running back that I am excited to see what can he do in the backfield, because I know the Raiders decided to bring back Amir Abdullah, and Amir Abdullah is going to be your third down / kick returner, special teams running back. What happens if they just brought back Amir Abdullah to be that special teams guy? Instead of bringing back DeAndre Carter on a contract that's going to cost you more than just bringing back Amir Abdullah, you decide to bring back Amir, you let him be special teams, and then what if the plan is to have Laube, who had over 700 receiving yards last season, the only player drafted in his conference, was the best player offensively in his entire conference, and kind of reminds a lot of people of Austin Eckler. Has good balance, can catch the football, can run between the tackles here a little bit. I really want to see how they use Laube, and I really want to see how they use Amir Abdullah. Let's go to number 6 here. It's Trey Taylor, strong safety from Air Force. Bottom line is this. How does the number 1 defensive back in college football end up going in round 7? And some people are like, well, Mitch, he's not the best defensive back in college football. He won the award for it. He won the exact same award that Trevon Merrick won back when the Raiders took him in round 2, and everybody thought he was going to go in round 1. When I watched the tape on Taylor, I'll be honest, not somebody that should have went in round 7, and maybe it's because he's rocking an Air Force jersey of why he decided to slide just so far in the draft. Now, I never thought he was going to go in round 1, round 2, round 3. This was always a player that we projected to go in round 6, round 7, but what does it look like on field? Very smart player, works with Ed Reed, so he's cousins with Ed Reed. And then what does that mean for Chris Smith, Isaiah Paulomeo, 2 other players that I am just extremely locked into this offseason because you do got a brand new regime. Yes, they decided to bring back Paulomeo, but Trey Taylor can do a lot of different things for you, and it also offers you that ability to play special teams. One of my biggest takeaways that I learned from the draft this past season, even the UDFA signings, is do they love football? Imagine you're taking a test. It's a yes, it's a no, or you're doing something on the internet and that's it's a required answer, yes or no. If you checked no, you're not getting drafted by this Raiders team. You're not going to be a part of this organization. If you checked yes, they put you in a different spot. Every single player that the Raiders drafted, every single player that they signed as a UDFA, one of the biggest notes on those dudes is they love football. Trey Taylor loves football. I'm going to get into the top players coming up here on today's show, but before I do, I got to show some love to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Just make sure that you use code CLNS for that first-time deposit match up to $100. Now, I love Prize Picks because you can, and this is actually probably one of the best times of the year to do it because of the NBA playoff games. Like, whether you're watching Eastern Conference, whether you're watching the Western Conference, I know most of y'all are probably out there, but all you got to do is pick more, pick less. It's really that simple. And because they are the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there, I've heard a lot of really good remarks from people that watch this show. People will hit me up, be like, Mitch, what are your picks for this week's game? Which I know it's easier to do for Raiders games during the regular season. Now, though, if I'm going to make any picks, it's going to be season long just because I trust my football knowledge. But I'd also be lying to say, like, there's not a night where Alex and I are just sitting down, we're not doing anything, and I go, hey, babe, can I watch the game? She says, yes, we watch the game together, put down 10, 20 bucks, opportunity to win some money for her and I, and she gets involved, I get involved. I also said the other thing about Prize Picks that I love is if, like, you're trying to teach your son or daughter sports, you're trying to teach your wife sports, have them pick a player that they love and then make something around that on Prize Picks, and then if you win, give them the money. Like, I tell you this right now, they would be 100% down to watch sports with you all day, every day. Again, shout out to Prize Picks. I love using it. More or less, super simple to use. $100 deposit match. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's go to number 5 here on the list. MJ Devonshire, cornerback from Pitt. I know he was drafted in round 7. This was a prospect, though, that we here at Chat Sports thought was going to go a little bit earlier than that. We had a round 5, round 6 grade on him. Long, lanky, athletic. Like, there's no doubt about the fact that the Raiders, I think, are looking for long, lanky, athletic corners because it worked with Jack Jones. It's working with Nate Hobbs. And if you believe in your coaching staff from top to bottom, which they obviously do on the defense, could you get the most out of Devonshire, who had 32 tackles, 4 INTs, 10 PBUs this past season for Pitt? And, like, when the ball's in his hands, he's an electric athlete. His technique's just not very good right now. And not that you can expect rookies coming in the NFL to have that technique down. I just expect it to be a little bit more crisp of where it's at. The reason why he's number 5 on this list is because, like, he's going to be going up against Jacory. He's going to be going up against the Camryn Richardson. He's going to be going up against the Jack Joneses, where the cornerback room to me is still the one spot where I want them to add another guy to that roster. And if they don't do it, a lot of attention is going to be on that cornerback room, which falls there with MJ Devonshire. Coming up next here is my favorite player from this year's draft class for the Las Vegas Raiders. It's Jackson Powers Johnson, the offensive guard, former center of the Ducks. Remember, Tom Telesco called Andre James on draft night and said, hey, you're still going to be our starting center, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to draft Jackson Powers Johnson. You could put JPJ at right guard, at left guard. It doesn't really matter. All I know is he is going to be one of your starting interior offensive linemen. He is a born Raider, literally went to the Coliseum. Physical dude, going to beat the shit out of people, and I think it just goes to show of, like, what Telesco, what AP won. Where you might not win every game, but at the end of that game, you're going to be like, holy crap, my body is killing me. And Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be one of those players. And I just want to see where they line him up. Like, legitimately, just want to see where they line him up. Do they line him up at left guard? Do they line him up at right guard? Are they lining him up everywhere? JPJ is a player that I am locked and loaded into this offseason. Let's go to number 3 here. It's Brock Bowers, and kind of a lot of the reasons why I just mentioned here for Jackson Powers Johnson is kind of the exact same thing for Bowers. Where do they line him up? Are they going to line him up in the slot where he played 52% of his snaps last season for the Georgia Bulldogs? Are they going to line him up as an H-back where he had like 9% of his snaps last season at Georgia? Are they going to line him up out wide? Are they going to line him up as a tight end? Like, the ability that you're going to have here with Bowers, putting him all over the football field. And I also want people to just see how talented he is. Like, there's going to be reports, there's going to be things that come out, and they're going to be like, Brock Bowers is a different human being. And he is a different human being. The fact that he looks like he can do your taxes is why people maybe don't take him as serious. So kind of like the Hunter Renfrow effect, where somebody looked at Hunter Renfrow and they're like, no way that guy's in the NFL. If I showed you a picture of Brock Bowers, you'd be like, that guy right there I would trust with my taxes. And Bowers, I actually probably would trust him with my taxes. But when you see him go out there on the football field, dude is a talented human being. I mean, I'm me for believe, all caps, just say talented in our live chat. He is a hell of a football player, and I can't wait to watch him at Rookie Minicamp. So here's a fun little game. Again, Prize Picks, I love what they do. And even though we didn't talk about it exactly, right now the Raiders, you can do 2 season-long things around players with the silver and black. Both are Brock Bowers. So how about this? Give me a more, give me a less. 5.5 receiving touchdowns for Bowers this upcoming season. I think it's going to be more. Type M for more. I think it's going to be less. Type L for less. If you're like, Mitch, wait, I can do that on Prize Picks? The answer to that is yes. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Let's go to number 2 here. I got Delmar Glaze, offensive lineman from Maryland. And I just want to see how quickly he gets adapted to the NFL. I know that he's good in pass protection. Run protection is where he's really going to struggle, I think, at this level. But just like, the notes that Tom Downey had, one of the most respected NFL draft guys in the business, Tom said that he thinks he's going to play guard. What happens if they put Glaze at guard? And he's out there right away, and they're working him at right guard, they're working him at left guard. They never put him out there at tackle. The light bulb should be going off in your head. You're going, holy shit, this guy actually isn't going to be competing with their Munford to play right tackle. What if he's out there, though, right away at right tackle? That tells me then, okay, we're going to have an actual competition here with Munford. So depending on what the reports look like for Glaze, depending on where the Raiders decide to put him on the offensive line, because I do think that he can play tackle. I do think he could potentially be a backup guard in this league. Where they put him, that's really going to set up what this organization thinks of Glaze and where they think he could potentially fit with this offensive line and who he's going to be battling, whether it's there Munford or maybe another backup position. But the number 1 rookie that I am the most excited to watch during rookie minicamp, it is DeCamerion Richardson, the cornerback out of Mississippi State that they drafted in round 4 at pick 112. This guy's long, lanky, and he's a freaking hell of an athlete. This weekend, while I was packing, moving a few things, I decided to try to watch a little bit of tape on some of these players while I was doing just some of the odds and ends that I was doing while I was moving. And DeCamerion Richardson is a fun freaking player, dude. He's 6'2", he's 200 pounds, he runs a 4.340, like 4.340, which I think the only faster time was like Quinion Mitchell at the combine. Like, dude is an unbelievable athlete who loves to tackle. His technique needs to get a little better. And I think when you look at some of the notes that we have on some of these corners that the Raiders ended up drafting, it was really good athlete, press man cover, not afraid to tackle. And I think what happened was last year they got a little snake bitten by Marcus Peters thinking this guy's going to be able to lead this team. And instead, Peters was too busy tucking it between his legs and Olayan, where now they decided to go out and find some corners that are actually not afraid to tackle and be physical because AP, Telesco, Patrick Graham, this entire room, they're confident in their ability to be able to get the most. Ricky Manning, Raiders cornerback coach, to get the most out of these guys and turn them into, all right, if you can be a freak athlete and we can work on your technique, well, let's get that one going. Because between Richardson, right now, I don't know if it's going to be him, Bennett. I know they still have Brandon Faison on this roster. I just, in my heart of hearts, believe that he's just not going to make this team because of the money that you can save, $2.6 million moving on from Faison. But, like, the Raiders want to be a physical football team. I'm telling you right now, DeCamerion Richardson is a really, really fun, intriguing player. But him up against Devonshire, him up against Jacorian Bennett, sign me up for that content all day, every day. So here's one more time my top rookies that I'm going to be watching at Raiders Minicamp, which is from May 10th to the 11th. If there is a certain name on this list that I missed, which I put all 8 draftees, and I put 2 players that the Silver and Black signed to a UDFA contract. Both contracts were the highest among guaranteed money that were given. Chuggs mentioned the name Carter Bradley. Hey, if there was a name, I know this for a fact. I've been doing this show long enough. I made a top 10. There's 25 names available. I know that I missed the name that some of y'all want me to keep up to date with. So let me know down below. And remember, if you make it to the end of our shows, all I ask, if you're looking for more Raiders content, give me a follow on IG. Give me a follow on Twitter. We're going to do our best this offseason to keep you guys up to date literally everywhere on the internet. Luis, hot coffee mixed with cinnamon stick tea, half and half. It sounds like a good drink. Actually, another drink that I like a lot is a chai tea. Like a chai latte hits. Busy. Seeing Chuggs clip to his chest hair inspired me to be confident. So for those that don't know, I guess it was Thursday. We did happy hour. Chuggs had to sing. Maybe it wasn't that day. It was a few days. It was a few weeks ago. Maybe it was the draft. I can remember you clipping it to your chest hair so that way it would stay.
I think it was the draft.
Probably.
All for body positivity here, Busy. All for that.
Man, that's what it's about, right? Like, You shouldn't be embarrassed. You should just be confident in your own skin. That's what I'll always teach. That's what I'm going to teach my kids. Be confident in your own skin. Final call here to get in our 50-50 raffle. After this, Chuggs and I are going to get on out of here. We did do a show a little bit earlier today once the Raiders signed Jalen Guyton. As it stands right now, $20 to get you would win you $90. I also said, though, the first 10 people that get in this race, you're going to be entered in for our Zoom call. So if you want to be on that Zoom call Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I also need your email. So just keep that in mind, which right now, as it stands, I think we got 2 spots left. So if you're like, Mitch, I want to get on that Zoom call. Here you go, $20 Venmo, enter this race, and then you're also in that Zoom call on Wednesday. What's up, Spivey? Spivey says Shasta
Tiki Punch is the bomb.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I was always a Hawaiian Punch kind of guy. Shasta is like a brand of soda.
Okay.
You know what
I have never heard of it. No.
It's like a off. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's an off brand. It's like a different brand of soda, and then it's like their Tiki Punch. It's like
See, I'm actually not that big.
It's like. Did you ever have like Dr. Thunder or see that or like?
I've seen Dr. Thunder. It's like mellow yellow.
Yeah.
Okay. Off-brand, Mr. Pibb.
Oh, I love some Mr. Hot take.
Yeah?
I've always loved Mr. Pibb. Maybe even more than Dr. Pepper a little bit, but
Wow.
which might get me some.
Somebody said it's pronounced Shasta.
Doritos goes pretty hard.
I like that's
Like-
probably Alex's.
Glass, Coke, like Mexican Coke.
Very good as well.
Great.
Very, very good as well. All right, final chance to get in. I'm going to refresh my phone. I don't see any other names. So, Chuggs, I'm going to send you this list right here. And then we're going to get this thing up and popping here on the Raiders Report. So, final call to get in. And if we don't get anybody else, then it looks like Crash Dog, Country Boy, Raspberry, Tuna, Nico, Potter, Navman, and then David Zahn will all be on my call on Wednesday. I just got a $20 Venmo from this name here. I'm going to be honest. How would you say this? It's literally the name.
Fruit you.
Yeah. That's so this one's coming in from actually I added there is no N. It is spelled PHRUKYU. I believe that is Fruit.
Did you ever see Austin Powers?
Also Sean Morgan, you in. Yes, I have, but it's been a minute. Why? Sean Morgan, and I got your email.
You would know exactly what scene I'm talking about if you.
Fruit. Yeah, I guess I don't get it.
I don't remember which Austin Powers it was in.
Yeah, there's a lot of Austin Powers movies. A lot of them. All right, y'all. Chuggs, I sent you the list. Right now, $20 Venmo, you'd get in. Oh, wait. Luis Rodriguez. Luis Rod. Now winner gets $120. Luis, send me your email. Even if it's different. Fruit you, though, he didn't send me his email. He just said feet pics.
Really?
That's all it says. So, Fruit you, if you win this race, I'll send you feet pics, not the money.
Alrighty.
There you go.
Quick super chat before we get the race going, which I'm surprised Nico's not in the race.
He is.
Oh, he is?
Yep.
Never mind. Not surprised.
Just got into Vegas. Every time I see the Death Star, 6 to midnight. Also, can I get on next week's call? I can't make it this Wednesday. Let me know. Yeah, we'll figure it out there, Nico. Let me just take a mental note here. Nico Laz next Wednesday, which is what? May 15th?
Mm-hmm.
May 15th? Got it. All right, you in.
Rod.
Mitch, did you create Chuggs in your laboratory?
Mitch, did you create Chuggs in your laboratory?
I'll say this, kinda. Like, there is a kinda to that, where Chuggs was obviously Chuggs, We just kind of gave him the nickname.
Yeah. In your laboratory. What show is that?
Dexter's Lab. I knew that one. I actually was like, oh, damn, that's a pretty good one. Oh, all right, this makes sense.
DD!
I was going to say, there's a certain race that we have to do.
And it's this one.
It has to be. How many people watched the Kentucky Derby this weekend? How many people knew that the Kentucky Derby was this weekend? I had no idea. I'm not going to lie to you. No idea. My dad called me and he was like, Kentucky Derby Day, because he loves horses. He was really fired up about it. I was like, I didn't even know it was today. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Have you ever had a mint julep?
No.
I've never had a mint julep either. I've heard mixed reviews.
I like mint in my drink, so.
Fair.
Like a good mojito.
See, I love mojito. A good mojito absolutely slaps.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, run it. Winner of this race is going to go home with $120 here on the Raiders Report. We got Nicholas Potter's got out to an early lead, though. Dustin Country Boy, I was going to say I like where he's at, but I think he's turning it on a little bit too quickly here. Luis Rod, good spot. Nico, great spot.
Great spot for Nico.
Nico's, you're going to like the way you look, I guarantee it. Yeah, see, Country Boy now, he's too much in the lead here. VAB's chilling. Ron Raspberry's in an interesting spot. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of pulling. Let's see, Tuna's won 3 times. He makes it sound like he's never won before. Has Country Boy ever won? I don't know. Though, Fruke U would be kind of a lit. A good Fruke U, dude. Luis Rod.
Nico!
Oh, man, from the back rope. Nico Laz with the dub.
Hit the Nas!
Yep. I think you could tell early on who was winning that one. He was in a good spot. Congrats to Mr. Nico Laz. Sent.
Nico said, hit the Nas! You remember that like month where Nico won like 5 races?
Dude, Nico was on a real hot streak. Yeah, and now he's just celebrating all over that poor horse. Just poor horse. Yeah, there was definitely a stretch. Nico was red hot. Remember the Anthony Green stretch where he won like 4 out of 6 races or like 3 out of 5?
It was getting wild.
Then there was the David Zahn stretch where he won 8 races in a row to be our March Madness king.
As the number 1 seed.
As the number 1 seed is wild. Nico, if you please can confirm that you received your money, that would be much, much appreciated. And then the next time that you're going to see Jeremy Chuggs, and unless there's breaking news, of course, is going to be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time here on the show. I know it was a little bit shorter of a live show than what we usually do, but that was because we broke down the Jalen Guyton signing that happened a little bit earlier today, and just, behind the curtain, when something like that happens, it takes away time for Chuggs and I to be able to make, the normal live show that we did. So just keep that in mind. I also got to leave a little bit earlier because today is my anniversary with Alex, 1 year that we've been engaged. Shout out to everybody that tuned in, and for everybody that is going to be a part of our our Zoom call on Wednesday. I am literally, as soon as we get done with today's live show, I'm going to start sending out those emails. So if you sent in a $20 Venmo today, send me your email. That way I can send you the invitation for our Zoom call. Make sure also you guys are watching our Knicks coverage tonight. Game 1.
Woo!
Big game there.
Marshall's very excited.
I'll tell you what. I would be hyped, dude. Playoff basketball, that's what I'm doing tonight.
I can't tell if he's nervous or excited.
It's both. Marsh honestly reminds me a lot of me when I do watch parties, where a lot of emotion, a lot of nerves, though he swears way more than I do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not close.
I would say Knicks now is rated M for mature.
Definitely. Though, Seeps is rocking a green shirt. Who do they play tonight? I don't even know who they play.
The Pacers.
Pacers.
Our biggest rival, the Indiana Pacers.
Who plays tonight? The Wolves and the Nuggets?
Yeah.
I want the Wolves to win that. That's what I want.
Of course I'm watching. It's our biggest rival, the Miami Heat.
No, fair enough. Yep. All right, y'all. We're getting out of here. Wow, do you see how we spelled interactive? That's unbelievable.
Oh.
I'll be honest with you, that ain't even close. That's it's closing time.
Oh, God.
Open all the doors. All right, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Peace out.